My narrative of the last 2 months has been businesses are not putting full-time attention to this avenue. It needs to be dedicated a full-time avenue versus part-time. I'll set some ads up and leave it and hopefully I get results. It's like, I've never seen anything from an investment perspective where people are just happy to pay money and not know if they're gonna get a result. Like Facebook, you know just as well as I do, we've spent a lot of money on Facebook. If you lose 50 bucks on Facebook, you write it off as, it's part of the, but it's like, hold on a minute, that's fucking 50 bucks. Because you know you can get a return, and that's what's the dangerous thing, you don't put the attention you need on it. Now that we manage other people's Facebook ads accounts, we've adopted an entire different philosophy of looking at ads as well, you know, which is on another level because every cent counts. You're okay to throw away $1,000 on a test campaign. I'm not okay now to throw away $1,000 for someone else's money on a test campaign without going far more granular and stringent with it. So what we need to do as business owners though for our own stuff is we need to take a better approach. It's made me clean up my own act with my own ads. Because again, I'm happy to go bang, let's test $100 on this. Oh, that didn't work. But you gotta treat each dollar like it's the last one and make sure it's going in the right place. Hence why I started with this going, you really gotta get your process down from tracking and pixels and the flow. For each ad campaign you run, you need a Google Sheet and you need to track the date, the ClickFunnels leads, the Facebook pixel leads, the cost, and then have a cost per lead off the actual ClickFunnels leads, not the Facebook pixel. And then it gets tracked every day.
So some we could track every day, some we might track once a week, like our boot camp.
If you like guessing over 7 days and hoping it works, then that's cool.
We're spending $9 a day on a campaign. Is it worth tracking it every day?
Well, again, it depends, I guess, because 60 bucks a week on 30 locations, how much is that? You know, 1,200 bucks a week. If you could finite that and take that 1,200 down to 800, how much difference would that make? Well, fuck, 400 bucks. What could you do with another $400? It's the old adage, you know, you plant a seed, do you watch it grow every day? Probably not, it's not gonna be a smart idea. Has it grown yet? Has it grown yet? You set up a Facebook ad, do you need to check it every day? Well, it depends on the emphasis that you're putting towards it. If you've got a $2 campaign, well, you're not gonna check it every day because you're not gonna get much results from it. But if you're putting, you know, $100, $200, $300 into a campaign, you wanna be checking it very, very frequently. You know, when we've got campaigns in the thousands a day, I will check that campaign several times a day just to check if any anomalies occur or if there's anything that we find that's great that we can then duplicate and start off, etc., etc. But it's the reality of making sure, you know, and I just said to a client there is, should you be checking it every day? Well, it depends if you want to waste money or if you actually want to, you know, keep an eye on it. So it's like watching the stock market. You know, there's the long and the short play with stock market. You can invest $100,000 into stock. You're not going to check it every single morning. But if you're buying volatile stock in this, I don't know anything about stocks to be honest, but I do know this to be true, is if you're a daily trader, you're checking that shit daily because, you know, if you're getting in, you want to sell and you want to buy and you want to sell, and you're not worried about what happens here, you're just worried about the long curve, you could take the long approach. But Facebook ads is like the stock market, I believe right now. It's changing all the time. You could have an ad that works really well, then all of a sudden it's not working the same next week, and you're like, why is that? You know, the ad spend's gone 3, 4, 5 times what it was, and you're like, I don't understand. It's like you don't understand the stock market. You can see patterns and you can try and adapt towards it. So if you want to save some money, you should be checking your advertising frequently.